Thanks, Basil. I just want to give you a bit of an insight into the Saturday afternoon team. We're a bunch of unique individuals.
Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the Unique Individuals podcast. We are back and it's good to have all the boys alongside me today. Good to see you, Connor.
Yeah, good to be here, lads. Thanks for having me.
Hugo, good to see you, mate.
Yeah, good to be here, boys.
And we got Blair.
Yeah, once again, keen to get into it.
And last but not least, Jackson. Good to see you, mate.
Hello, everyone. How's it going? Also, our YouTube community. This is our first episode on YouTube. Shout out to you all. Hopefully, there will be people that will be watching this as well as listening. But yeah, good to be here.
It is definitely good to be here. It's been not as long as last time, only less than a week, really. We last caught up, but it's good to be back as usual, and we'll get straight into things, really. So, first things first, hay fever's really kicked in for most of us lads. I mean, for me, I get it pretty badly, and I've got the bit of the sniffles today. But in advance to all the listeners out there, if you hear a little sniff or a cough or sneeze, whatever, just you know that that's hay fever.
Yeah, obviously the viewers, the listeners might be able to tell my voice is a little bit dusty today. I sneezed about 73 times yesterday. Probably 43 of them were consecutive. So, yeah, I'm not in a great way. The Claritine sorted me out this morning, but let's hope it can get through. Yeah,
the hay fever has certainly kicked in for most of us. But I think it's really started from the weekend with cricket happening. So, finally, let me emphasise that. Cricket started for at least most of us. Blair and Hugo, your long-awaited debut for the Fours, Bourne Saints. Well, it happened. Bourne Park at home. And, well, take us through the day, guys.
Yeah, so obviously it's been a hell of a long wait to make the debut. Many of us, Hugo and myself, we didn't actually know if it was going to happen, to be honest, with Lenina, or whatever you want to call it. It was great to be there. The sun was out. Got there nice and early. Actually, before the club rooms were opened, I like to be there nice and early. The day kicked off. We had all these old fossils against us. They turned out to be pretty good. We got rolled for 65. But anyway, apart from that, it was a ripper day. Like, it was great to be out there. Good club culture, good deck. It was a ripping debut, and I'm keen for next Saturday. Hopefully we can get up again.
Yeah, it was a good debut. We bowled first. Blair opened the bowling, did pretty well. I came in first change, was a bit of a shock. I haven't bowled in 6 years of a competitive match, so I was a bit rusty, but it's all right. Then we got a couple dodgy decisions when we were batting. One LB decision in particular was a bit dodgy, but it was all good. Our batting was pretty rusty, the old batting, but we fielded all right, actually.
Really well.
Yeah, our fielding was pretty good and our bowling was pretty good. It's just we had a shocker with the bat.
Yeah, well, for me, right, so, one's got called off again because of pitch conditions.
Will you ever get on? We don't know.
Well, the dream's almost, not a dream anymore.
Probably not this weekend either.
There's a bit of I reckon there's got to be some sort of scandal brewing there because I don't know if it sounds like the groundskeepers aren't really doing their job. It's been wet. It's like beautiful conditions. It's like, I don't know how.
Well, apparently the pitch was okay to some it wasn't. Anyway, some teams in my comp got up, so that's the more annoying part because it was an absolute cracking day. But anyway, I got down to the Fours because not only to watch Hugo and Blair, but little Jolie was playing and the old man was playing as well, captaining the Fours. So got down to support, considering I'm not doing much on a Saturday arvo. But it was good to watch you boys. And so the honest review. An absolute choke with a bat, the whole team performance. Blair, you're looking a bit shaky to start off, and you go off the mark with a nice cut shot through the field, push for two.
Yeah,
and
easy two. I'd argue that, when you've had about 3 net sessions in the last 18 months, it's probably not great. It always comes down to preparation, and I've really let myself down there, but you can guarantee I'll be at the nets. I'll be working on my trade, and when Noddy and the boys, I look to our leaders, and no scores in the double figures. We needed a better start, so
yeah. Well,
I wasn't hoping to go out too early, batting at 3, but yeah, no, I think Chris surprised me and Hugo in a few facets of the game on the weekend.
I was gonna say he must have trusted you because opening the bowling and batting 3, it's not you must think you're pretty handy. But let's look at your dismissal. It was a pretty soft dismissal in all fairness.
Yeah, I think.
Explain it.
Yeah, I think you have. No, I mean bouncy wicket as you've mentioned, and it just cramped me up a bit. So popped up off the edge.
Out for
Yeah, just the couple. So
just a couple.
yeah.
And Hugo, you were bowling well. You got your first wicket. It was caught the moment. It's on our socials if you haven't seen it yet. But yeah, that was a good moment. And Blair was close to catching it. Little Arnhard at square leg caught it, but you could see Blair in the footage with bucket hat, getting around the boys.
Yeah, he gave had a little tap on the bum after that one and said, "Well done, young fella." But yeah.
But Hugo, your batting performance, mate, you were actually looking pretty good. You batted at 4 or 5?
Batted at 4.
4, and played some nice shots. You hit a nice 4 through mid wicket region, but then it was short lived again, like most of the team really. But
Yeah, I got a bit carried away. I was trying to score a 4 every ball after I hit the first 4. And I was sort of batting on leg stump. It sort of flicked my pad the way I got out, and Owen gave me out pretty quickly. It was missing leg by about half a metre, but it was pretty plumb. It was it was a pretty poor shot from me. Went the old big flick.
had to get on the front foot that
I
one.
was trying to get it over square leg for 6, but missed it and it was plumb LB. But yeah, I'm looking forward to next week. Hopefully we get out there and make amends for it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sorry that I had to give you out. I didn't want to, but I couldn't not give it out. That was yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I think next week will be better. Obviously, a few of the older boys in the side don't really train too often, which is fair. You're playing 4s, so a few of them were a bit rusty. A few of our vets, and obviously, me, Hugo, we'd never batted out on that deck before. So it'll be nice to get another training under the belt, and I think we're back home next week, so hopefully get another run there and get into it.
Well, let's hope the weather can be good
hold
for
off.
this weekend because we all love our cricket, don't we? But anyway, so that was Saturday. But another member of our team, Jackson, instead of playing cricket, was at the races. So
slapping on pineapples.
Slapping on and losing all his money, or was he? Let's see how the day went for Jackson.
Yeah, well, last year, obviously, I played cricket last season. I realised that I wanted to make the most of my Saturdays. I didn't want to stand out in the field for 35, 40 overs, however many overs you play. Didn't want to stand out there for so long, so I thought I might as well take my money over to the bookies. Went down to Flemington at the races there at Stakes Day. Was started off strong. Won in the first race. Some decent money. But then it was sort of bit iffy from there. Won 3 races, but still didn't walk away with the win. I could say it's rigged, but that would just be a cop out. But it was pretty good. Saw a few of the exclusive stars. I do have some breaking news. Jordan De Goey is not in Bali. I saw him on Saturday, so just confirmed there.
Must be home for a holiday.
Yeah, maybe. Well, you wouldn't call it a holiday if you're at home. But
Nah, he's permanent resident over there, mate.
All in all, great day out. First time I've been to the races, so
nice.
It's been good. Went out for a couple of drinks then afterwards, and
Well, definitely a highlight of that evening was obviously we weren't there, but a couple of hours during the day we get a little notification on Instagram and Facebook that Jackson Mansell's updated his profile picture and he's put a post out, and I tell you what, man looks good in a suit, let me tell you.
No meant to self-indulgence, but when I got into the car, because my dad dropped me off the station, because obviously
This has
can't
got to
drink.
be self-indulgence. This one.
Yeah, I said to him, I said, gee, your son looks good. I said, he's looking fresh today, and there you go.
Well, if you haven't seen it already, follow Jackson on the socials and have a look at his outfit on the day. It was it's very dashing.
And to our women out there, just quickly, yes, he is single.
Yes.
So
and yes, he's available.
And yes,
DMs
he's
are open.
ready to mingle. So just hit him up. Yeah, you've got his handle. Hit him up.
Jackson Mansell won, that is, for those that didn't hear it the first time. So
Yeah, I think I summed that up pretty well. I reckon I commented on Insta, lad looking sharp. So, mate, you're looking pretty nice, and yeah, no, good work, and I guess we all aspire to look that good on race day. The other day I was looking all right, but by the end of it, yeah, a bit shabby from the lads. But anyway.
Anyway, so it sounds like a good day, Jackson. And yeah. We'll move on to Connor now. Connor, you had a little footy trip on Saturday, kind of like a celebration, kind of trip away with the boys after a long season. Let's see the type of stuff you got into and the shenanigans.
A little or big, we don't know.
Oh, we went reasonably large. I mean, yeah, just a bit of tradition after footy season. You know, you have the footy trip. We're heading up Mornington Peninsula way, so beautiful part of town out there. But we're going to head to the Belknowing races. They actually got cancelled on the Friday, I think, so that was a bit of a somber point. But we just ended up going to different pubs, you know, up the coast and, you know, drinking a fair few beers, having a few palmers, and yeah, no, it was a pretty good day, all in all. We had the party bus. We were going en route from venue to venue with the party bus, so purple bus.
Purple.
Said, yeah, it was pretty interesting, and the bus itself was a little bit of a different setup with the seats. It just had either side seats straight down, and then
Just the bench seats.
you know a laneway. Yeah, just basically bench seats.
Definitely
and,
not legal.
And there was it was pretty cool looking thing, but there was rusty bits on the roof, and the old gearbox and all that sort of stuff looked starkly different to you know, the V1 buses that they got rocking now. So I don't know how it was going. The driver was a bit of a loose unit. I don't know how he didn't get distracted by it all, but I reckon he was having a few tins behind the wheel. He loved it, the big fella. But yeah, we went pretty well. I ended up in pretty reasonable condition. We come back to Fitzroy a bit later in the night, and you know, had a few, but I pulled up pretty well. Most of the lads didn't go ridiculous, but as you probably saw on my my Instagram story, there was some irresponsible behaviour from
There was some nudity.
22, 23-year-olds.
There was nudity on the bus.
Oh, there was a fair level of nudity from 22 or 23-year-olds. You know, it's quite irresponsible, but like you let them off at that stage because we were just enjoying the moment and just really loved being there. So yeah.
Yeah, Connor, obviously you finished up a bit better than you did the previous week at the Melbourne Cup shenanigans, which obviously I was going to have a chat about it last week briefly, but it did involve an $130 Uber for reasons beyond us. I actually booked Connor an Uber out of my own goodness of my heart. Booked him the Uber from my service due to his flat phone, which our listeners will know that is a regular.
Good old iPhone 7.
Yeah, it doesn't have great battery, and yeah, booked him an Uber, and I'm getting calls from the Uber driver. Sorry to him, I can't recall his name. And yeah, he's saying to me in quite an angry tone. He's given me a bit of a spray actually, and said, "Your brother is throwing up in my car. I've pulled over. He's on the side of the road throwing up." And I've just said, "Look, mate, I'm sorry." He's like, "What do you want me to do?" I said, "Just get him home." And he got him back, but yeah, the next morning I copped $130 out of the account for the cleaning fee, which Connor, I'm glad to say, has paid me back for that, which is a pleasant surprise. But yeah, so not great from him.
Well, after the payback, Connor, how's the bank balance right now? Are you on the ropes?
Yeah, absolutely.
After the sushi this morning, he said to
$20 sushi.
I think he's got $8 left in his account.
I'm going to be extremely candid here with you boys. I have, and our listeners, obviously, and viewers, for that matter, but I have $8.78 left. You know, so, and I've got a few coins floating about back home, so I might have like 12 or 13 bucks. Probably got a few 20-cent coins in there, so that could help me out. I don't know, probably a week ago I was looking at going out tonight to Workers and, you know, dominating the D floor, but...
It's $5 entry, so you won't get a drink.
Yeah, it is $5 entry, so that's no longer a really possibility, but I have $8.78 left. boss said the pay was going to come through today, so let's hope so. And I'm going to be sweating until it does. But I don't know. It is what it is. I wasn't great that day, Melbourne Cup day. By the end of it, so pretty grim. I didn't really want that information disclosed. I thought we'd sort of moved
thought
on.
he got away with it.
Sort of moved on, but deep down I knew it was coming at some stage. So, and not many people I don't think know about that. So
Nah, Connor kept it pretty under wraps on the day.
I'm not proud of it, but we move on, and the bloke's car, he can deal with that. Bit of a shit.
Man, my rating, I'll deal with that as well.
The rating didn't go down. It was a bit of a shitty whip, so a bit of a bomb from the lad Suresh or something. I think his name might have been, but I'm sorry, mate. But thanks for dealing with me, and I'm sorry to the Uber driver and the Uber company as well. So really remorseful.
Actually, speaking about that, we might have heard a bit of an expletive there. There has been a clause in the fine system that has been revoked because of one man there who is,
As a
fist
dirty
bumping,
mouth.
everything like that. He I mean, he probably can't afford to rinse it out, but with what he's got. But yeah, Connor, do you want to elaborate on the clause that we took out because of your rant?
It all began with a big message to the chat.
A massive message in the group chat. It was about 2 paragraphs.
Which I can understand.
Yeah, it was basically like a petition, of us to join and, agree with the message. But Connor, tell us what, the changes to the new fine system now.
Look, I just thought with the way it was, I'd lost a bit of character. Almost a part of me had been taken out. If you want to go that sort of in depth with it all, but we are now allowed to say words like shit and the more minor ones on the minor end. Obviously not the really serious ones where we all know what they are. It doesn't
Like what?
It doesn't. No, it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be said. But so we've just taken out. Obviously, there was no serious ones before, but we've become a little bit more lenient on it, and I think those things are they're almost more descriptive words for a situation, and add to a story, add to a conversation a little bit. So we've just we've got the more minor ones in, and obviously the serious ones, not going ahead. But I think that's fair. I think we all sort of agreed on that. I don't think the fans will be too fussed with it as long as we sort of stay in our lane with it all. Should be fine.
Yeah, should be good. Should be good.
Yeah. Just quickly, we've got a bit of a substitution for the rule. Blair, did you want to go from there?
Yeah. Obviously, in light of the change in the fine print of the fine system, Mansell and I spoke. Hugo was there. Connor was there, actually. And we decided on the introduction of a new fine. Mansell can decide the value, the monetary value which this one will hold. However, we've decided that there will be a fine for liking your own profile picture. So,
God.
I mean, we've seen posts. We've seen posts before liked, and they're bad, but you can look past that. But we were discussing, and the profile pic, it's the relevance of it. Maybe a once a year update, maybe even less. And for so much self-indulgence to like your own profile pic, I think there has to be ramifications for that. So you've got the right reply here, Owen.
I'll say my piece here. I mean, I hadn't updated my profile picture for over a year, and okay, I liked this photo. I thought it was kind of set up nicely, and I didn't like it straight away, but I don't know, after 2 hours or so, I was like, I kind of like this picture. I might just give it a cheeky like, and then probably 10 minutes, I get a message from Blair saying, "This bloke loves himself." Do I? Maybe, but okay. I'll cop it. I'll take that.
But then I thought after that message, my recollection was the like was actually removed from the post from Owen. He got a bit rattled, I think, and removed the like. We checked back last night. It's back there. He's chucked it back on there.
Yeah, I removed it. I'm like, no, I'm not fooling with this. I'll keep it up there. But
yeah. So
no, you got me there, boys.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Nah, that's
But yeah, nice substitution there, I think. So
okay.
and I think we can all agree, it had to be done.
Is that just for me or everyone?
It's for everyone, but you're the only one that's liked the post. So yeah.
Oh gosh.
No, we move on though, don't we?
Good stuff.
So obviously we had the AFLW and dinner. Connor, I just might quickly say, Connor organised the AFLW.
This was last night, right?
Yeah, thankfully he actually booked tickets this time. Because previously he organised the NBL. We were all going to go, and the morning of he says, boys, I forgot to actually get tickets. So that wasn't great, but at least we got tickets to the sold out AFLW game. And I guess someone take the floor with this one.
I didn't. I didn't realise it was going to be sold out. Right, Mansell said. You said about earlier that week. You're like, 2 Melbourne sides, bit of a derby. It'll be sold out. Get on it early. And then I just turned a blind eye on that one. Completely forgot about it. And then when it sold out, I was like, oh, sold out. What are the odds? But I don't know. I'm not the best in terms of organisation. I probably should have never. If I said to organise something, you guys probably should have pulled me up and said, you don't know how. So anyway, I was just trying to confirm a few things, and then the Saturday obviously got away from me. 1 beer become 10 pretty quickly, and then so on, so forth. So I didn't really know what I was doing, and I was in no state to sort of book tickets there. And I for my sake, I kind of hoped that they were booked out on the Saturday anyway when I had the chance. But anyway.
Yeah, and obviously at the game, Mansell, your beloved Pies got the job done. You were rocking the Pies kit. You were shouting. You were counteracting those Bulldog chants. Tell me about the day, mate.
Well, yeah, glad for you guys to join me. I mean, you had a bit of a run in to start off with, but yeah, no, it was a good day. Back at the spiritual home, I haven't watched the game there in over a decade, probably. I mean, I'm used to going there for VFL training, but it's a different atmosphere, for sure. And I thought, I haven't seen Collingwood's women's team play. Like last week was the first time I went to an AFLW game in general. But yeah, watching the Pies play, I thought, we're in finals. It's a Collingwood game. I'm like, yep. I'm a Collingwood fan. I'm gonna cheer in the same way that I do for the men's team, and yeah, they put on a show. Held on in the end. It was frantic stuff, but I learnt how to deal with it this year with all Collingwood's close wins. So, but yeah, it was a good day.
Yeah, it was pretty nerve wracking, really. Like for and like decent scoring, I think, and Collingwood cracked 40. It was pretty free flowing footy. Shout out to Eliza James. I'm sure she's listening. Kicked 4 of Pies 5. So Connor Burns 52 is what his handle is. So he's interested. But anyway, why not? But Ellie McKenzie. But it was a great day. It was a really good to see a sold out crowd there. And some great support for an elimination final was unreal. Obviously, I had slight misdemeanor on the morning of. Connor and I were meant to meet Mansell we previously were going to meet Mansell at Reservoir Station to get the train in, but didn't really feel safe leaving my car there. I think people outside can understand that. So I decided to go to Ivanhoe a bit closer. I was like, we won't be on it for long, and we pulled up as the train left, and next one was 17 minutes, so we would have missed the game. So I drove right to Vic Park. Sold out crowd, trying to find a park for 10 minutes, still missed 10 minutes of the first quarter. And, finally slapped the park in there, went in, had a bad bout of hay fever. We come back out, ready to go to dinner. Lovely dinner at the Terminus, I think is the name of it.
Abbotsford, yep.
Yeah, and I'm reversing the car, and Mansell, he spots a bit of paper under my wipers. To make my hay fever feel better, I'd been stung with a fine for parking in a permit zone.
What was the damage?
Boys, you thought Connor was struggling with payments. 111.
Yeah.
So I'm really not. That's I said to the boys that I've actually cracked $600 in fines this year after my red light arrow, which stung me about 500. So it's not great. When you've got $300 in your account and rent's due today and it's $1,500, so it's got to be paid by the end of the month. I mean, I could contest it. I was in a permit zone, so what really do you say? But I was stiff. I got stung. I parked there about 3:15 because I missed the first 5 minutes. 3:27, they stung me. So the dog probably watched me park there and then walked along. So, yeah. And hence why I bought a kid's parma at dinner for only $12, which Hugo can allude to the dinner. He obviously turned up and it was lovely.
Yeah, it was good dinner, good feed at the Terminus Hotel, but the prices were a bit dodgy, I reckon. Blair got the $12 parma from the kids menu with just parma and chips. I got the normal parma, $29. And the Palmers were the exact same size. I reckon Blair had more chips. I just had a bit of leaves on the side. It cost about $17 more. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so Hugo paid $17 for some leaves, which they, they probably got from the garden, let's be honest. It had a quite nice garden there. So, but we will put it up on the socials. I took a photo of both my Palmer and Hugo's, and you actually can't tell. You think mine's probably bigger. So, kids menu. If you ever go to Terminus, Terminus bloody pub, get on the kids menu. Good bang for your buck.
It's a life hack. If you're struggling on money, the kids menu, some of the kids' food, good size.
Yeah.
Probably.
So,
But they probably thought you were a kid when you went up there anyway. They're probably like, oh, yeah, okay,
even with the
we'll let it
mo?
go.
yeah, see, a bit stiff. Because I got asked actually the other day by my cousin, shout out to James, if I was doing Movember, which I'm glad he recognised, a little bit of the hairy upper lip. But I said, yeah, I and this is actually like pretty much true. I was going to say it as a joke, but it's actually like I've got to come clean. It's pretty true. So I've been I started Movember about 2-3 years ago, probably 2020 was when Movember really started for me. I'm still doing a good job. It's more of a process for me rather than a monthly. It's more like half decadely sort of thing. But yeah,
I don't think, other than Connor, any of the boys have seen you without not a mullet, a moustache. What would it take for it to come off?
Twice with a flag.
Anything else?
Oh, gee, I'll think about it, get back to you. But really,
Any
boys,
payment? Like if we all chipped in for you to get it off?
if you pay my month rent. Nah, but I don't know. It's really part of me after that long. And I feel like, I'm getting ID'd with the mo. If I took the mo off, I probably actually wouldn't be able to order from the adult menu. Like, I'd probably wouldn't be allowed into venues. Probably get pulled up when I'm driving. Like, the ramifications could be serious. I look about 9 years old, so not good.
Let's be honest. Like, I know it's been a long period of time and in the works for a while, but it's better than some others. There's some people back at uni. We won't name names that there's no foundations there at all. They don't grow any such hair, except for on their head by the sounds of it. But anyway, I just wouldn't mind a little rating on mine while we're at it.
Self-indulged.
here we
We've
go.
already talked about it.
What do you reckon, lads? But I'm just doing it for a little bit of awareness out there, and I didn't start at the start of the month, but I just thought I can get it really substantial if I just get it going a few weeks before, and yeah.
Yeah, Connor, you should actually sign up, mate, and get people to donate because, you do actually, unlike lots of us in this room, we can't really relate. You've got a bit of groundwork there.
You can grow it quite easily.
Yeah, obviously, Hugo, you've been battling along for a while, as well as I have.
9.5 years, no shave. So
Yeah, so, it's a difficult process, but Mansell, I don't reckon I've ever really seen too much. It's pretty light coloured from Mansell, and Owen keeps his pretty tidy, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty invisible coming from my end.
Nah, but lovely boys, yeah. So good on you, Connor.
I might try to do that. I don't really know how I'd go about that. Trying to get that donation sort of thing set up. Like, I don't really know technology very well, but I might do that. And I don't know, people probably won't donate, but it's all about a little bit of awareness for men's health and health in general, really, for anyone. So yeah.
Definitely. We'll move on now to the new segment that we introduced last week, the Storytime segment. So we shared out if anyone wants to share a story. I don't think we heard back from heard back from many, but we do have Blair, and he's going to share a story, not on him, but on his beloved brother. So
Yeah, many out there would have heard this one, but it doesn't hurt to hear it again. And I'm just going to make sure everyone has heard it. So this will go on YouTube. So Connor, he's about 10, 11 years old. We're at the Australian Open tennis, a yearly thing for us and our family. We love it. We love the tennis. And, Connor's a bit of a class clown, larrikin at the time. Doesn't quite understand social settings that well. Let's just say that. So, you're sitting at the tennis. You can't talk between points. It's quiet in there. And look, I remember taking chips in, some salt vinegar chips, and I was crunching them down. I got some bad looks for that. So we're sitting there. I can't remember who was playing, but, it's all quiet, ready to serve. Yeah. Connor thought it would be a good idea to unleash some carbon dioxide out his ear. He has let off a massive fart in the arena. I think we're at Margaret Court Arena, actually.
Roof closed?
And it could have been because it had an echo.
Yeah, it would have
It had an echo. It actually, and no word of a lie, there was 10 rows back with full laughter, looking down at us. Connor's looking around, and for the YouTube viewers, he's like this. This was me. That was me. Wants the credit for it. I'm next to him. I'm next to him looking down, head down, pointing across, going, "It was him. It was him. It was him." And so he there was a lot of laughter, a lot more than I would have thought. People, families, couples laughed it up in the stands. And it warranted the chair umpire to say, "Quiet, please."
Was it a loud one or a silent killer?
Oh, no, it was loud. This was an echo. It was massive.
The duration?
Substantial as well.
I was a kid. I'm pretty sure I was at High Sense probably back in 2012, maybe before that. But I was pretty young. I would have been no older than
But geez, he loved it.
10. But I can't remember who the player was, but he was going for the serve and he
Caught the ball.
Threw the ball up and caught it. And they looked
Umpire
around.
had to say,
we got to find
"Quiet,
if we can find any replay footage of the. If you can find the match that you had.
that's plausible because literally the crowd laughed, and I was like, it was the worst day of my life. And I was like, I don't know him. He's not. And people were laughing and pointing to me as well. I was like, it wasn't. And Connor wanted the credit. I was like, give him the credit.
Why do you
I don't
want
want
the
it.
credit?
Well, this is the worst bit.
No.
3 points later.
Don't tell me.
My father looks across to Connor in the chair. And Connor, again, tough for the listeners to get a gauge on this, but Connor is pictured like this, trying to squeeze out another one.
Tensing.
And he's trying to go again. He's tensing. He's almost grunting, trying to let out another ripper and bring the crowd alight again. And I think the words that Dad may have said to him, probably not repeated on this pod, even with the change in the fine system. I think he may have said, "Don't you certain word dare, mate." And Connor didn't go again. Otherwise, yeah, but so that's the story.
The whole family would have been kicked out if he went for the second.
Oh, it was the most helpless I've ever been. I felt vulnerable. Everyone was looking, laughing, pointing. The chair umpire had to say, "Quiet, please." How more embarrassing does it get than that? And and Connor, in all his entirety, loved it and tried to go again. So that's, lift Connor.
Yeah. I think that's self-indulgent in itself. Like, just trying to look, it's like, oh yeah, let me just release another one. It's like just trying to get the crowd up and going.
You want some camera time.
And
he's a born actor.
I'll admit he had projection on the first, but the second,
that's pushing.
I think I'm just lucky. I think for the sake of us all sitting there that day, we're lucky that something else didn't come out and stink up the arena rather than just a temporary smell.
It wasn't a picnic bar.
I'm glad he didn't. In no really polite way to put it, but shit himself.
Yeah, well, look, boys, if I reflect back on that moment, I clearly had some issues back then. I just
has it worn off yet?
It has.
I don't think so.
It has. But I obviously had this sick obsession just to be noticed and laughed about and
that's kind of sad.
and somewhat
that's kind of sad,
but somewhat still respected in that way. I just wanted attention, and I would do anything it took to get it, whether that was ripping off a bit of carbon dioxide, or I probably would have streaked back then. if I thought about it at the time, and if I'd seen it on TV, I probably would have got on the court and took the racket and tried to play against the opponent. But I love that sort of stuff. I did. These days I'm a bit more mature, just naturally with
You reckon?
Yeah, you just like
bit of age.
Just
but
slightly maybe.
now rather than farting in public places, you just get out your rig.
And jump in bushes.
Yeah. So I think you have matured up a bit.
Yeah, definitely. But it was like it was quite a fun time, like summer, large frozen cokes, 30-degree day,
And
Sitting
letting off
wa-
stinkers.
sitting watching the tennis all day, or letting a few rip, just soaking it up in the precinct of Melbourne, and
You got to think about the people around you, mate.
oh, they loved it. But like, what a time to be alive back then, and I wish I could go back to my younger years.
Do it again.
I've those moments are gone these days, and I can't. It's not really socially acceptable, or people don't really tolerate that these days. But when I was like 10, I don't think they could have abused me verbally or physically too much, because they probably wouldn't have went to the slammer. But I don't know. It was super fun. It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, so that's our story for that one. But I mean, surely it sparks a bit of interest from the people out there. Only takes one big fart in public to
make
get
a story.
So
To get a good 15 minutes on the pod.
Yeah.
And you don't have to share the whole story. You could just put your name out and then DM us later or whatever.
send in your
Whatever's
voice memo.
easiest. Yeah, send us a little voice memo. We might get back to you. Then you can explain more. Anything like that. The option's there to be heard on the pod.
Yep.
So the option will be there for next episode. But thank you for the story, Blair. About Connor.
Yeah, it had to be shared.
Definitely had the giggles there. But we'll now get into the sport talk now and see what's been happening in the last week or so. So obviously cricket's been happening, and well, Aussies could not make it into the final two. Couldn't make it out of the group stage. Disappointing, but not surprising. Jackson, your reflection on the Aussie performance throughout this whole tournament?
Yeah, well, I pretty much elaborated on it last week, but it's pretty much the same things. Like we're just too one-dimensional, I reckon. We haven't got bowlers that can close it out. Our openers did a poor job. I mean, Finch maybe a couple of games, did a little bit, but apart from that, it's just shocking. Like Afghanistan nearly beat us, who hadn't even won a game. Like, I'm not saying Afghanistan are terrible.
They played very well.
They did, and they're a force to be reckoned with in the years to come. But Australia are known for being able to get through these tough matches. Like they only scrape through it just, which I mean reflects a little bit on the character. But it's worrying signs ahead. I reckon. From what I heard, if they weren't the host nations, they would have, they probably would have had to play in the qualifying stage this year. Cause it's just,
Well, speaking about like host nation, right? You'd think that at the Aussie games you'd get a big crowd of Australians. That game against Afghanistan, empty. It was at Adelaide Oval, empty stands, really not many people.
I think
Whereas
it was 8,000. I think.
probably half of them were Afghanistan people. But you look at last night's game, Zimbabwe and India, packed. India through, they're fine, but still, I don't know how many.
82,000.
82.
It was.
That's incredible.
You go from 8 to 82.
It just shows the different culture of support base, and I reckon that's a factor. I reckon if the Aussies had the more of the home support and people getting down and supporting them, I reckon that would be a massive influence.
Yeah, and I guess why do we think that that it is like this? Like why is it's? I feel like there's been a real lack of like people going to the Aussie games, getting around it. People even watching. I reckon it's dropped off a bit, and I don't really know why. But anyone got a take on that?
I'll just quickly say I think it's just maybe because it's the format, the T20 culture. I think we're obsessed with the test matches and the Ashes and whatnot, even ODIs, but T20. I mean, people, even Australians, dislike the Big Bash. I definitely think the Big Bash is improving, but because we're getting, I think the problem has been getting world-class players into the competition. But I think, just the culture, whereas the Indians, the Pakistanis, they all love their cricket no matter what format. So I think that's, definitely I think that's definitely a factor to why the performance was lacking for Australia.
Yeah, even if they organise like a tri-series, like a T20 tri-series, like in Australia, like I'm trying to think of the last time that Australia played India in a T20, like over here, or against Pakistan even as well. Like, who have got the big crowds. Like, you know, get them involved. You know, put it prime time, everything like that. Like, none of these games played during the day.
You'd get crowds, absolutely.
Yeah, like I also think of the one days, for example. You know, Australia playing England at the G, right, for a day night one dayer. It's the first time in years, I think, that Australia have played a one day at the MCG. Like that's day night, that's properly, and like I think
that isn't part of it, like a tournament or something.
Yeah,
and like scheduling is probably like a big factor in it too.
Yeah. Like I think about a decade ago, like my earliest memories are like, you know, during the summer watching one day cricket day night being a whole festival. You dress up, everything like that. It's just gone to shit pretty much. It's like it's just
But Australia out. And the teams to progress are India and England. They play in one of the semi-finals. New Zealand and Pakistan in the other semi-final. They both commence the 9th of November, 10th of November, so this week. Boys, I want to get your predictions on winners, runners-up, and your opinion on player of the tournament. You know, it doesn't have to be it's just whoever you think has been impressive, even on a side that hasn't done so well. So I might start with Connor. Your winner, runner-up, and player of the tournament.
I reckon India probably win. I just think they're built throughout, like the good play. Like they've got really damaging players. Sharma, obviously Virat. I can't recall the name of the number 4 that bats from him, but he's made like
Hardik Pandya.
Nah, not Hardik. Hardik's very dangerous as well, but this bloke's made 61 not out off 25 the other day.
Yadav?
Yeah, Yadav, yeah. And then he made a 53 off 25, like, quick runs. So, like, they're very damaging. Rishabh Pant as well. Guys like that, obviously, pretty dangerous. So, I think they'll get the win, and they're built throughout the tournament. Runners-up, I probably think England. I was thinking New Zealand for the win.
They can't
because they're playing against each other in the semi.
Oh, they're playing against each other. Oh, right. Playing against each other in the semi. Well, that changes a bit of stuff then. I guess New Zealand will probably get through to the final, but I think New Zealand, I don't see them winning it because they were playing well early, but they've just tapered off. They're not playing well at the right time, I don't reckon. But, who knows? Player of the tournament, probably Virat. I think he's hit like 2 or 3 60s with red ink as well. So, and obviously a couple, match-winning knocks where if they don't win those games, they're in all sorts of trouble. So probably those guys, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the winner would probably be Pakistan, and the runner-up will be India. I mean, India-Pakistan final would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
We saw them in the group stage. It was an electric atmosphere. I can't lie, I haven't watched the ball of this of any game.
You've been working?
Yeah, I've been working really, and so I'm going to take Connor's word for player of the tournament of Virat. Sounds like he's going all right, so I'll give Virat the nod. Yeah,
I like India to win it, and I'm going to say for the sake of massive crowd, big game, Pakistan get there to take them on. I'm going to go a bit different. I could say Virat because, as Hugo said, I'm also quite similar with the viewing of the cup. But I'm going to say, the first name's a bit tough here. Yadav for India. He's had the 5 games like Virat, 225 runs. I reckon if Virat doesn't fire, I reckon Yadav goes big. So I'll have a crack. Surya Makar, Surakumar. So he'll be the player of the tournament.
Yeah, I would love an India. I never thought I'd say it, but I would love an India-Pakistan final, especially for T20 cricket in Australia, in Melbourne. It would definitely boost it in a big way. Hopefully, Cricket Australia can come to their senses and even think about bringing them down for T20s more often. I reckon India will win it. They've just been the informed team of the competition. I thought South Africa would be favourites, but obviously they had a shock loss to the Netherlands. Basically pulled it out of their reaches. But yeah, I reckon India to win it. I do want to say Pakistan, but I reckon New Zealand will be the better team. Glenn Phillips has been performing well for them this season. I reckon they'll be in, but I still reckon India's going to win the final. And then Virat Kohli for player of the tournament. He's just been superb this this tournament. You look back at the India-Pakistan game, and he just he tore it to shreds towards the end, came in clutch, and I reckon a couple of big performances like that, and he'll be recognised, I reckon, as probably the greatest T20 player of all time if he has a decent performance like that.
Yeah, well, for me, I think definitely, not definitely. I think, though, India and England, that game is the tougher game compared to New Zealand, Pakistan. I think New Zealand get through, even though I think Pakistan would be a better option in the final. I think India get through as well. So India, New Zealand final, and I think India will get up, New Zealand being runners-up. But you never know in the T20 format. Momentum changes, and, if just one bloke turns it on, the game can completely change. And we've seen that. We've seen a lot of upsets this whole tournament. Player of the tournament, I mean, it's hard to pass Virat Kohli. He's, like you boys have said it pretty much, he's dominated throughout the group stages. I don't see that changing at all in the finals. And and he's had a lot of pressure recently. I know he still needs to perform more in the test match level, but he's shown in the T20s that, he can perform at the highest level. So, Virat for player of the tournament for me. But we'll move on now. So that's the cricket done. NBA's been happening, obviously, and we've got our experts, Jackson, Connor, and Hugo, to talk a little bit about what's been happening the last week or so.
We obviously, it's been 5 days, but it always keeps, it's a revolving door. There's been a lot that has happened. Main thing that's happened, again, Brooklyn are in the news. Kyrie Irving has been suspended for 6 matches, I believe. Almost indefinitely until he completes all this stuff, but a minimum of 6 weeks. Hugo, what are your thoughts on the situation there?
Well, it's probably a just deserved suspension. Obviously, we don't condone racism or anything like that, so it's the right thing to do. Puts Brooklyn in an even tougher spot. They're sitting 10th in the standings in the East at 4-6, and they rely heavily on Kyrie and KD. At the moment they're only just scraping into the play-in spot. So it's Brooklyn's going to struggle, which is surprising. I've had them almost win it with Ben Simmons coming back, but Simmons is injured as well. He's done something to his knee, or supposedly done something to his knee. It's concerns in Brooklyn at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Connor, I know you're a beloved Brooklyn fan, even if you don't know much about the sport. But I mean, how do you see it panning out down your end?
Once again, it's not looking good. Obviously, last week with Steve Nash gone, hasn't got much better with Kyrie getting suspended for a minimum of 5 games, which it will probably end up being longer because it will probably take a while for them to sort all that stuff out. But they're 4-6 right now. I think they've won 2 of the 3 games without Kyrie. So they're going all right, but there's no secret they rely on him and KD pretty heavy. So it's not ideal. Hopefully they can get Ben Simmons back soon, because he will start playing good basketball, and he was doing okay. Far from his best, but he was doing okay, and he was building every game, and he was, if he can just sort of stay out on the court, he'll be right by sort of the middle of the season. But we just got to scrap some wins, in the next sort of 20 games, I guess. Yeah. And that'll the next 20 will have a huge bearing on how they go. If they're in a pretty average 20 and they don't even win half of them, it's going to be a long way back. Yeah. But I don't know. They've got to find a way of getting out of the news, or being out of the news for the wrong reasons, and start having more reports from just winning games of basketball. Yeah, I guess so. It's not looking good, and not how I anticipated it. But Brooklyn always sort of come with a bit of drama. Even last season, they didn't reach the heights that they should have as well. So it's disappointing. Early days, but still early days. So.
Well, again, they have, I don't know if they still do, but they had the worst defensive rating for a starting lineup in the competition per 50 minutes. So, there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. Blair, I want to go to you. The Golden State Warriors, I know you're not much of an NBA expert, but, put some figures to you. They're 3-7 at the moment. 0-6 on the road, which is, the first team to do that after winning a championship. Blair, what do you got to do to get Steph and the men?
Give us your insight, Blair.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to say I'm an expert at the NBA now. Yeah, look, it's the 0-6 away from home. That's disappointing. I mean, you're not gonna be a contender if you can't win away from home like that. Just looking at a few of the figures, they've lost the last 5 games, which is pretty tragic. I don't have great description of the game, but I know, started win loss sort of thing. And the last 5 losses, looking at the sheets and stuff, my man, Steph, he can't do any more, guys. He can't do any more. He's averaging 31 a game. He's dropped 279 so far.
His shoulders are hurting by now.
Oh, he's averaging 6 points more than he did last season. And look, he needs more than Jordan Poole to score 15 a game. Clay, 15 a game. Come on, lift, Clay. Yeah. He needs more help.
Come on, lads.
Steph can't do it on his own. He nearly can, but he just can't quite. So, I mean, you look at a couple of these losses. One was 1 point, but all the rest have been pretty convincing. So, like, there's a 25 to 30 point loss in there as well. So, I mean, it's fairly worried about that, really. Because you look at that and 3-7, coming off the glory that we had. Not good at all. Disappointing.
Yeah, right. Well, definitely not good. I wonder if you bounce back or not.
But yeah, no, they're not doing the best. But yeah,
we'll come back.
Yeah,
Bounce back.
Steph just needs 50 a game now.
One team I do want to touch on finally is the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're 8-1 at the moment. Donovan Mitchell's having an MVP-like season. Keeps pulling out performances, really thriving. At a new team. Hugo, how do you think they're going at the moment?
I reckon they're travelling sort of as expected at the moment, really. Like, they've got quite a good young team. Last season, they started similarly. They sort of about around this mark, were about 7-2, I think, at this stage last year. And, they've got a better roster at the moment than they did last year. As you said, Donovan Mitchell's going off at the moment. He's putting together an MVP type season. Darius Garland, he's continually just, oh, jeez, what's that?
Continually.
At least you didn't say Dennis this time, so.
Yeah, he's just continuing to ascend. And, Mobley's going all right as well down there. So, it's looking good for the Cavs, With the Lakers going pretty bad, LeBron might be going back home to the Cavs, I reckon.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, interesting. Anyway, we'll move on now to the AFLW. So obviously, you boys went to the game yesterday, but the finals have started for the AFLW. Geelong and the Bulldogs were both eliminated in tight contests. Maybe Jackson, you can take it away. Your review on the final series so far and who you might see, taking the Chockies home.
Well, yeah, firstly the game yesterday, Eliza James had a game and a half, kicking 4 goals, which is the most goals in an AFLW final. She really tore it to shreds there. The Pies, just their transition, from defensive 50 to forward 50 just looked amazing. Like, it was a lot quicker. Found ways to get through. Bit inaccurate, but they were able to hold on in the end, which was good to see from the girls. What other games are there? So, yeah, well, Melbourne, Adelaide. Melbourne just look a class above. Going to be a real good threat, as did Brisbane with Richmond as well. I think the inexperience there from Richmond sort of hurt a little bit. But that being said, it sets up another showdown. Basically, the reverse fixture, back at Punt Road for Richmond against North Melbourne. Connor, if you want to elaborate on that Richmond game, I honestly reckon if I'm looking at the games this week, I can see Richmond getting up against North, and as much as I want to say Collingwood, I reckon Adelaide will get it done. You know, we did get close to them in Adelaide this year. It's going to take something impressive to get it done, but I think Adelaide go through. Yeah.
Yeah, there was obviously a couple pretty tight contests. North just scraping through against the Cats, and Collingwood in the end just beating the Doggies. And the other few games were, they weren't drubbings by any means, but they were sort of comfortable victories. And the teams that went down were always sort of playing catch up footy in Adelaide and the Tigers. But it's quite a unique situation to have two teams match up against each other when they've played just 2 weeks prior, and that's the situation that Richmond and North Melbourne find themselves in. The fact that it's at home for the Richmond girls at Punt Road, the Swinburne Centre, probably gives them a bit of an edge, I think, and they seem to play some pretty good footy there, so they'll back themselves in. But obviously, a couple of weeks ago, it was a draw, so they're gonna have to play pretty well. The Richmond girls and North, I think they were a better team than where they finished, to be completely honest. Hence why they just got over the line against Geelong. But yeah, probably the Tigers get up in that. And Collingwood only went down against Adelaide by I think 5 points early in the year, so by the barest of margin, so they can obviously challenge. And they'll need Eliza James in that midfield to really get going. But I think the Crows maybe just got a bit too much experience, might get up by a couple goals. But it was quite an interesting first week of finals. And I think obviously a long way to go, but I think if Richmond could, get back, if they could end up making a grand final or something, I think they'd come very close, if not beat Brisbane, I reckon, second time round. But yeah, I see Melbourne and Brisbane probably being those two teams. I think they're a little bit above the Tigers, Pies, and a couple others, and the Crows. They're a little bit. Teams have kind of went past the Crows a little bit. They've won 3 flags in the last 4 or 5 years, so pretty good. But they're kind of slowing down just a little bit, I reckon. Yeah.
Yeah, well, both semi-finals have been played this weekend, Saturday. So make sure to get around that. I don't think we'll be playing cricket if that's happening, but make sure to follow closely. Should be a good contest. Other than that, though, I reckon that's about it from us.
Yep.
It's been a great episode. We're now going to go back to fortnightly episodes, so we'll see you blokes. Well, not blokes, everyone out there. We'll see you all out there. But we'll be back in 2 weeks' time, so stay tuned for that. So in 2 weeks' time, the Football World Cup is starting. So we will be having a little segment on that. During the break, we'll put out our predictions on the World Cup winner. And we'll be decked out in any football gear that we might have. Some might not. So we might need to be borrowing others. But we'll make sure to be decked out for next episode, which will be in 2 weeks' time. But other than that, thank you for listening. YouTube, it'll be out on YouTube, first episode. But so make sure to check that out. As usual, check the socials on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And we'll see you all guys in 2 weeks' time. Take care.
See you guys.